Hey, what's up? This is Australian Brush Turkey here. Since it's winter, I wanted to do something about winterized sneakers and some of my favorites. So these are either winterized versions of existing sneaker silhouettes or a new sneaker design which has some kind of functionality or some kind of winter appropriate style. So I've reviewed a few winter appropriate things in the past, like the North Face Vans, Gore-Tex NMDs, Presto Utilities, etc. So I'm not going to be looking at any of those, even though all of those are pretty appropriate. So for this one, it's going to be 100% fresh. First up is the Nike Footscape Utility DM. This year's Presto Utility release was a little bit of a disappointment because they got rid of those waterproof or water resistant materials that they were using in last year's stuff. But this is a potential replacement because it does kind of look like they have some water resistance, and I've heard positive reviews about these in general. I think they have a pretty cool futuristic-y sort of look. Definitely some kind of design language from the acronym Presto going on there with the sort of mid-rise cuff that they've got going on. Cool fastening as well, I like the way that they've done that. They released pretty quietly a couple of months ago, and I do think that these would look really, really nice in your average techwear fit. And since they're not acronym Prestos, they're going to be significantly cheaper than that as well. The only problem that I found with these is that they don't seem that easy to come by. I don't think they released on the Nike UK website, and in general I'm not sure if official Nike sites had them available. So there's one or two like odd retailers that you can get them at, so keep an eye out. They're not really that easy to find, it seems. Next up is the Nike Terra Sertig. This is a much more boot-like shoe. It's got pretty rugged construction, nice thick sole as well. Another good, interesting lace system as well. They have a couple of different colorways. One of them is this sort of orangey, grey, futuristic type thing. They also have an all-black version, very techwear approved, very easy to wear with a lot of other things. And they have this pretty cool and interesting beige, green, brown sort of version. Now, personally, I don't think my wardrobe could really support that colorway, and it would be much, much better if it was black. But that's definitely an option, definitely something to look at. That sort of wavy thing that they've got going on, which moves around towards the back, the potential for some different colours there, the cool lacing system, the nice rise to it as well, it's got quite a nice shape. I think in general, that's going to make this quite a good little choice, something that will stand out a little bit compared to a normal pair of boots, even though in terms of their ruggedness and their durability, they certainly look to be much more in the boot camp than the sneaker camp. They're also probably the least hyped or the least well known on this list, so if you want something a little bit different, maybe something that not many other people have seen or other people have, then this is probably the best one to go for. From the least hyped to the most hyped now, in the form of the Nike SFB. These came out in 2016, the first ones, and they were massively hyped, big campaign around them. They came with a bag as well, and they sold out immediately, and they were pretty tricky to find because it felt like a lot of people bought them just to own as opposed to resell. However, since then, they've come out in a couple of different heights. There's mid ones, there's high ones, and different styles as well. There have been some that have just come out that have these like weird like bungee cord type lacings almost. So those ones look super futuristic and a bit weird, and they come in some crazy colours as well. There's a very nice orange colour, which is pretty bold for sure. Quite a strong military styling on this one, so definitely lends itself to wearing with cargos over jeans, but the different colour options that you've got still mean that you've got quite a bit of versatility. You could go for that sort of white and salmon mid one, for example, or there's some nice all over kind of stone coloured ones, or of course there's the all black ones if you want maximum versatility. A pretty recent release is the Converse jump boot. This is a Gore-Tex collab, so like some of the other things that I've reviewed recently, this does have some kind of Gore-Tex technology in there, which is pretty cool. It also definitely has some remnants of that Converse shape, but then mixed up and made into a more military styling. These don't really look that much like normal Converse shoes in my opinion, which is why I quite like them, because I'm not a massive Converse fan. If you do, however, like the standard Converse shoe, but you'd rather that they have a little bit of extra winter protection, because let's face it, your average pair of Cons get totally destroyed in bad weather, then check out the Urban Utility 70s Hiker. These are from the same collection. Again, Gore-Tex technology, winterized, but look a lot more like your standard Converse high top. Now, I don't want to leave out Adidas totally, so don't forget about their Terrex line. It's basically a whole range of winterized Adidas silhouettes and a couple of unique things as well. Personally, nothing in this whole range really stood out to me, so there's nothing that I would really kind of pick out and buy for myself personally, but definitely worth looking out. A lot of them have a sort of hiker, sort of walking boot type look almost. So in terms of durability and like winter credentials, these are probably pretty good, but perhaps looks wise, not really for me. However, they did have a collab with Norse Projects, and they had a lot more of a regular sneaker kind of look, but with some winterized and technical features, some water resistant stuff going on there. So if you more camp Adidas than camp Nike, but you do want something winterized, and you don't want to look at those NMD Gore-Texes that I checked out a couple of weeks ago, then have a look at the Norse Project collab, because there's some cool stuff in there. And finally, for a little bit of a bonus mention, is the Ultra Boost ATR, another Adidas release. Ultra Boost have a bit of a special place in my heart because they were one of the first sort of proper sneakers that I ever bought, and they are incredibly comfy to their credit. I also think that the ATRs of the Ultra Boost variations are probably one of the better looking ones. I don't really like the Uncaged or any of the other sort of variants really. Quite the opposite to something like the SFB, these are very clearly a sneaker first and a boot second. The Boost sole, terrible for bad weather, they just get dirty really quickly, and it's got some kind of coating on it, I think, to help repel water, but there's not really that much in the way of sort of technology. So these probably will still soak through, but a little bit better than a regular pair of Ultra Boost, so in a sense they are still winterized. No one's going to give you dodgy looks if you're wearing these in the summer, whereas I think with some of the more boot-like things, they will start looking a little bit out of place in warmer weather. So those were some of my top picks in terms of winterized sneakers. There's quite a range of things that I quite like in here, both from like very, very boot-like things to pretty much regular sneakers with just a little bit of winter functionality kind of tacked on there. So regardless of your personal style or your wardrobe, whatever, hopefully there'll be something in this little list that you quite like the look of. Or of course there's a few things that I've covered in more detail sort of back in the past a few videos ago. I'm sure there will be things that I've missed here though, so if you've got any suggestions or there's anything that you own that you'd like to give a shout out to, then by all means leave them down there in the comments. And if you are looking for a bit more extra inspiration, then have a look down in the comments and hopefully some people will give some extra recommendations above some of the things that I've talked about in this video. Anyways, if you did enjoy it though, do hit that like button. And that is everything. So thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you, as always, next week in the next video. Shout out to Fozzie for correctly identifying that the end of the last video wasn't just me messing up my rendering settings. And shout out to Repe, it was kind of meant to be a bit of a teaser as to a video in a couple of weeks' time, but it basically was just a flex, so my bad. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see some more, they will of course be going up there either side of this little head. And if you want to subscribe, make sure that you don't miss any videos when they come out in future. I'm going to do a few bonus ones, so there might be the odd one that comes out at crazy times. So hit that subscribe button and then make sure that you don't miss out when those pop up.